Liverpool fight from behind to earn what could be a really important point in the title race this season, and in the end it feels like a game where we should have walked away with all three, but we couldn't take one of those many late chances we created, and ultimately now we sit 6 points clear of Nottingham Forest, still having played a game less than them, and level in terms of games played with Arsenal, 7 points ahead of them, and just hoping now that Tottenham will turn up tomorrow, get a result against them, just to ease some of the pressure on our shoulders, make sure we're not punished for the points we've dropped. But at the end of the day, it's a point away from home against one of the league's most informed teams, not only this season, but especially recently. They were on a 6-game winning streak, I believe, just before playing us, having kept clean sheets in 4 or 5 of those games. So it's not a real shame to go there and not win. But obviously, when you have aspirations of winning the league, you want to be taking 3 points every game. You want to be making statements where you can, especially with the kind of form we've been in lately, where we have been dropping points a fair bit. And I'll get to that more later in the video specifically. But it's a point on the road. We have to now recover. We have another really difficult away trip against Brentford on the weekend, where we really need to make sure we get maximum. As I say, we did create more than enough chances to win this game. I think in particular those Jota, Salah and Gakpo efforts, all really well saved by Martin Sells, and then Ole Aina also clears a Salah effort off the line. So there was plenty of good opportunities, but this is why Forest are one of the best defences in the league. They've conceded just 20 goals like ourselves. They've kept the most clean sheets. And it was always going to be a really tough job to crack them open. And while we created plenty, it just wasn't enough in the end. And that's probably the most damning thing, is that we left it so late in the game to do so. This was an issue for us that cost us many times last season. And it's, again, the slow starts this season. We're going to catch up to us at some point, and they are now, as we're just struggling to get some of these games over the line. And it took us until the 66th minute for Jota to get our first shot on target, which was the goal. And then from there, we really went for it, and we had plenty of more opportunities. But why did it have to take us so long to wake up and really click into gear? I mentioned Diogo Jota getting us in front with our first shot on target. Well, that came just 22 seconds after he was brought on as a sub. Listen, Arne Slot bringing on Diogo Jota for Ibrahima Konate was an incredibly ballsy substitution, but it paid off, and it was Tsimikas who also came on with Jota in that double substitution, who assists him from the corner. That boldness from Slot to make the tough calls, to try and change the game entirely, try something different that I really enjoy so far this season. I think back to that game against Fulham in particular. We go down to 10 men, and what does he do? He deploys a 3-3-3, wrestles back control of the game and sets us up to just go on and dominate that. You would have thought we were playing with the man advantage the way we played the rest of that game. And again today, his substitutions really help give that spark. Of course, getting us a goal immediately helps massively to boost the confidence, but it puts us in control again. We take the game to Forest a bit more, we look more threatening, we create a lot more. And then ultimately, when he sees Forest creating a bit more danger on the breaks, he then shuffles the pack again. He gets Jones in for one of our attackers just to balance the formation, dropping Gravenberch into the back four. So it's brilliant, and I love it. He's a tactical madman, and never should I doubt him again. Finally, that draw today against Forest means we've now drawn 4 of our last 7 Premier League games. And yes, there's a bit of context there with, away to Forest, away to Newcastle, tricky games, 10 men against Fulham for the majority of the game, against Man United in a big derby match. There's always a bit of context behind them, but still, to drop that many points across those games is something that's going to come to bite us. And thankfully, we haven't been punished too much so far, but it just reminds me of that kind of title race curse we've had in those days where we were going up against Man City. Drawing too many games was often our downfall, rather than losing a glut of games. So we'd come out with not too many losses in the season, but we'd miss out by a point in the end of the season, and we would look back on many frustrating draws as the reason for our downfall, rather than outright losing games. And like I say, we haven't really been punished by Arsenal in the same way, who'd probably still be our main title competitors this season. Can't completely write out Forest right now, but they haven't punished us so far. We can't rely on them not continuing to do so. They have a game against Tottenham tomorrow, for example. They could cut that gap down. They're now also out of the FA Cup. They're all but out of the League Cup. So a lot of their focus is going to turn back to the title race like it did for them last season. They could go on a really long run here. So we have to really fix up and just turn the screw in these games, start them faster, take the chances better, and make sure we're not giving away silly points like this and just giving Arsenal that kind of, that taste, that appetite for a title race that we do not want to get too close.